is unfortunately what we see is right there is just this kind of slow river of lava.
How clean are our RV holding tanks after 1 year of using regular toilet paper and none of the commercially available additives? None of these for a year. Let's find out.
I'm going to get graded again. What do you think my grades are going to be? I can talk a good talk, right? But can I walk the talk?
As we say in the industry, we want floaters, not sinkers. Oh, that is one of my biggest pet peeves, I'll be honest with you.
People don't want to waste their money, right?
That's true, yeah.
I mean, it's like there's so many aftermarket RV products and stuff like that, and you know, just save your money, get the stuff that works.
Yep. So your tanks today, we did the back one, the front two, and I will say for being 11 months in, you've got...
I'm Tom.
And I'm Cherie.
And we're EnjoyTheJourney.Life.
Buddy.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Oh my gosh, look who's back.
Hey everybody.
It's Jim from Kleen Tank. It has been about a year since you first cleaned our tanks.
Absolutely.
So you guys are going to get to find out how clean are our tanks after 1 year of using regular toilet paper and following some of the steps and tricks or tips. And you know, not making some of the same mistakes that a lot of you guys have made and we were making as well. Do you have any new black tank jokes for us?
Let me think, boy. I don't know. I don't hear too many that I haven't heard already.
Okay, but we're also gonna get some stories about some tough jobs and maybe some new things that you found coming out of tanks. I'm going to get graded again. What do you think my grades are going to be? You know, so I can talk a good talk, right? But can I walk the talk?
And to give you a little perspective, these are our grades from 1 year ago.
An A, a B, and a C.
Oh, A, B, C, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, look how clean it is. Uh-oh.
Not so much, huh?
Not so clean. Wow, those are some pretty dirty tanks.
I think my grades are going to be better.
Okay.
You know, I don't know if I'll get an A on every one, but that would be awesome.
What do you think our new grade is going to be? Comment down below.
If you haven't seen the Black Tank Masterclass, we will link to that down below. It's gotten over 500,000 views, 500 comments on it. Lots of love here for Jim. You deal with an area that a lot of RVers don't want to deal with.
Yeah, we're very specific. We don't know a lot about RVs, but we know about poop tanks.
You're the expert in this business. Here's some of my jokes.
Okay.
The Black Tank Masterclass is either #1 or #2 on our channel all the time. And it's #2 in RV tank cleaning ranked on YouTube. How about that?
That sounds good. I like that one.
So, and it's all about how do we deal with #2, right?
That's right.
We want to make dealing with #2 in the RV world as easy and as painless as possible, getting rid of some of the smells that we have. And yeah, gosh, so much awesome comments on that video, and people just even saying that they did not feel confident doing full-time RV life until this video. And you know, to be afraid of your tanks and that, it's like, don't be afraid of your tanks. You can handle this area. And maybe I'll share that comment there with your method of cleaning the tanks that you teach us to do, that there's some satisfaction in doing that each time and watching that water run clean.
Absolutely.
If you've been using Jim's method for black and gray tank cleaning, comment down below and let us know how it's been working for you.
Well, let's get started, maybe in reverse order this time. We're going to start with the back tank back here, and this is going to be an A, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
Okay, awesome.
So here for Tom's rig, obviously the tanks are emptied. We empty them out. You don't have to empty them. We'll take care of it, but if it's an emergency and you want your tanks emptied, before we get there, certainly go ahead and do it. We're going to go up inside with our jetter. It's a custom, specially designed cleaning apparatus that goes literally up inside the tanks. Uses 1,500 psi of water, which is roughly 10 to 15 times what all RV tank spray and flushing systems use. So we're about 10 times the pressure. It does not hurt the tanks. That's a question everybody asks. We've been doing this now for 11 years, never had any tank damage at all. So it's enough to get it basically what we say factory clean, but not to cause any kind of damage. So we're going to turn on the water here. We're going to give them a good cleaning, and then we're going to do a flushing after that. This one actually looks pretty darn clean there, Tom.
Really?
Yep. I think you know what the grade's going to be here. Well, I don't know what you got last time, but boy, that was one clean tank there, I'll tell you.
It's like factory fresh, huh?
It sure is. If you want to get a glass of water, I'd be happy to let you taste it. I'm kidding you. I'm kidding you there.
Well, you probably don't see that very often then, do you, Jim?
No, we don't. We have seen some things over the years, I'll tell you. Some recent things we and our dealers have seen. We saw some batteries and some little toy soldiers come out of a tank once. That was from the owner's son. We had another dealer who reported they had called in for a clog, and the lady's teenage daughter had thrown some things down the toilet that she shouldn't have, and basically completely compacted the tank. The black tank.
Oh my gosh.
That was a pretty terrible one. We have had plenty of Struvite, which we know is a concentration of urine. It's very common when people don't use enough water. We've had plenty of stories of those in the last year, and it's been pretty interesting, the things that we have seen, I'll tell you that much.
And I gave you a little challenge here. We got another uphill climb here to the sewer connection up there. So
I'm running out of hands. That's all right. So we're going to put on, remember this contraption we talked about last time called the Flush King from Valterra, and I think Tom links to that in the comments there. This is the one piece of equipment that every RVer should be using. And basically, let me just get it set up here real quick. Basically what this does is it drives a wall of water into your tank. So you have a flushing system in your black tank. Very few RVs have a flushing system in the gray tank, but this is used to clean both the tanks separately. And what it does is it drives a wall of water from this hose into the tank, and it cleans it literally from the bottom. So anything that's sitting on the bottom, decomposed waste, toilet paper, whatever, is going to get flushed up, pulled up as the tank fills, and then when we pull this valve here, it's going to kind of whoosh out. You're going to get that whoosh that everybody likes to hear. So we're going to go ahead and...
You also got that save-a-drop on there as well, right?
Yep, so we look up, everybody should know their tank capacity. And this measures how many gallons are going in at one time. You don't want to go to the capacity. We go about 80 to 90%. And that's enough to get you within an inch or so of the top of your tank and get everything nice and clean out of there. So if you can't have a clean tank person come out and get you cleaned up, then using obviously this Flush King once a month if you're a full-timer, maybe every other camping trip if you're not, will do a good job of keeping all of your tanks clean. So it flushes one tank at a time.
So I've been putting 40 in these, and I've been safe, Jim.
Okay, good.
So, and this is a key thing to talk about, right?
Absolutely.
Do not get distracted while you're doing this.
Right.
Or you'll have a rude awakening.
At the very best, you'll have some water flowing down like a river off of the top. At the worst, you'll have a partner inside who is screaming and yelling about things that are coming up. So keep focused, keep attention. If somebody comes up and talks to you, you turn the water off and you say, hey, whatever, drink your beer or your coffee. But when you are doing this flushing, you want to be focused on this meter.
I will share a story from a tour with Chris and Martha from Venturesome Couple. He got distracted while he was doing this, and they had a big accident with that. So that's in our Chris and Martha Venturesome Couple tour video. I'll put a link down below to that if you want a funny story. And at least this time we have great water pressure.
Yes.
Compared to the last park, I think this was quite the long process.
Yes. So our cleaning takes about an hour and a half to 2.5 hours, depending on what we encounter. But all of our dealers are trained by us, and they all use the same training, same equipment, same processes, and we're all about educating the customers. That's what Kleen Tank is known for. Yeah, we have currently 48 new dealers. 10 are full-timers, the other 38 are in an area, I guess you might say. But we can pretty much service anywhere in the United States and in Canada now. We have our first Canadian dealer and another 2 on the way. But we're always looking for new dealers, so if you're interested, just visit our website. My personal most challenging one was the couple who used paper towels instead of toilet paper for about 10 years. And that was a completely compacted and dried out tank. Took me about 5 hours to clean, and that was the worst one that I've ever done. But I've done some where I worked on 4 or 5 hours. I did one where I had to do 13 back flushes on them like I'm doing now. That was a pretty terrible one. It's safe to say there hasn't been anything that we haven't seen, and I think the important thing that people need to know is we also do handle toilet clogs and tank clogs. So if you have a toilet or tank clog, we have the special training to do that too.
How many flushes do you think it's going to take to clean my tanks? Let us know down below.
So this is the flushing here. This is the first one, and I can already tell you it's the only one I'm going to do, because boy, that is as clean as it gets. You're going to get an A on this one.
You hear that, guys? Look at that. No mistakes on this tank, huh?
No. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want.
Awesome. Clean as a whistle, huh?
You got it. Factory clean, as we say.
Cool.
Good job.
Hey guys, this time I did bring the slide in for Jim here. So a little easier for him to work, but it doesn't have to come in, right, Jim?
Nope, we can work underneath. I got a helmet. Good to go. No worries. So, Tom, which one do you open up first, black or gray?
Black for sure.
Black? Is that what everybody thinks? Here's a little tip for you. Open up the gray first. A really quick one on the gray allows you to do a couple of things. Number one, if you have any leaks here, now it's going to leak out or spout a little gray water rather than black. Number two, the inside of your hose here always smells a lot. And smells a lot because initially it's dry, and the first liquid thing, which most people think is the black tank that they should open, the first liquid thing that that touches it, it tends to grab and hold on to, and these sewer hoses have a lot of little creases in them. So they're holding on to a lot of that black tank stuff, and that's why they smell all the time. So if you do a really quick gray, kind of pull it out, count to 3, 1, 2, 3. That'll help to lubricate things. You can see if there's any leaks, and then you can go ahead and open up that black, kind of flush things out that way. And then when the black is empty, we can open up the gray to do that kind of rinse on it. So a quick gray, then the black, and then the rest of the gray.
And you know what? What's funny is I just was tagged in a post on Instagram by somebody that had, went black first, had a bad connection, and then, you have a big issue. So thank you for sharing that tip. Well, you had to get me on one mistake, right? On this video, at least one mistake. So yeah, a little bit of gray first. Check your fittings and that thing about sticking to the hose. Yeah, that's a great one.
So we're just emptying out these tanks here, and then we're gonna get cleaning them. I can already tell. I think you're doing better this year than you were last year. That's my initial assessment.
Okay, cool. Gonna be on the A honor roll here, right?
Well, you might be. We don't hand out many A's. And you said you've been using the regular toilet paper, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, now this is after a year of using the fluffy, this is the Great Value Walmart Special Premium Ultra Strong Bath Tissue. It's like, I feel so pampered now after using thin, dry, RV toilet paper. But speaking of toilet paper, Jim, some people actually don't even put toilet paper in their toilet.
Sure.
Would you recommend that?
Yeah, I've heard of that before. They use either a wipe or they'll use little bags. Obviously you don't want to put a wipe down the tank, but they'll use little disposable bags. They'll put the toilet paper in, and you can go ahead and do that. But again, like you said, Tom, any kind of toilet paper is fine. The key is using a lot of water. So just use enough water. Don't use a big giant ball of toilet paper, and just just be sensible and reasonable when you're using toilet paper. No need to use RV toilet paper. No need to use septic safe toilet paper. These are holding tanks, not septic tanks.
You know which one you got?
I'm gonna say it is the gray tank. That's my initial guess.
Okay.
But I'm going to go and close one of your gate valves just to make sure.
Okay.
These are usually cleaner than the gray or black, obviously, but I got to tell you, from what I'm seeing here, I'm pretty darn impressed.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the gray too, because it's pretty clean. The black is not going to look that good.
So gray tanks, we look for mold. There are a couple of different types of mold or levels of mold. The first level looks like little coffee grounds. It might be gray or white, but they're little tiny flecks. The second level, bigger, a little chunkier, maybe almost flakes. They're usually black. And then the most severe, or level 3, big chunks about the size of my thumb. They're spongy. They can be yellow, gray, or black or brown. A lot of smells and odors from those. And remember, the gray tanks tend to have a lot of, well, all the tanks have mold in them, but in the black tank, obviously, it's hard to find it, hard to see it. The gray tanks, we do see some mold in there, especially in the summer. So just a good cleaning and good use of water, using a tank solution that has something in it that can fight that mold and kill that mold and mildew, like the tank solution that we recommend. We're going to move on to the black. That's the true one that's going to tell us what's going on.
Yeah, that's the black tank is the one I'm most, concerned about.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
We'll save the best for last, right? You probably spend a lot of time training your dealers just how to do that technique, right?
Yeah, so it looks easy, but I'll tell you, every RV is a challenge, and there's definitely a technique to it. And as I always say, our dealers just get more and more experience and more expertise in things. And I've been doing it now for 11 years, so I'm probably about the fastest of anybody, but we'll get them clean. We've never met one we can't, and one way or another we can get them clean. So.
And this is not just any old pressure washer here, right?
No, this is a commercial water pump built exclusively for us. It's Italian made, assembled in the United States, and we use it for all of our dealers. Have the exact same equipment. supplies. They go through the exact same training. Everybody knows the same thing. We've got a great support network, secret Facebook groups where we all talk about things. We're all talking to each other literally every day. My wife and I go and visit all the dealers every year. It's, you know, you're not just dealing with just some guy with a pressure washer from Lowe's.
And the only way to get this is to become a dealer, right?
That is correct. So our dealer program is completely turnkey. It's one price. It's not a franchise of any kind, and we've had great success with it. All of our dealers get fantastic reviews. We're a 5-star company. We're the biggest company of this type in the world, and we are just continuing to grow, and we're looking for new dealers every day.
Awesome. Well, I can't believe this is my black tank here, Jim.
Wow.
I'm not seeing anything come out. How is that possible?
Well, you must be doing something right there. We're going to find out when we do the flush. We'll see exactly what's going on in there. But so far, I'm pretty impressed there, Tom.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show a little bit from our first video of what first came out of our black tank.
Okay.
You know, just to give viewers the right perspective here, because they don't always look this way, right?
Right. No, this is, you've been doing really well the last year. That is unfortunately what we see is right there is just this kind of slow river of lava coming.
And I think usually, is it 1 year or is it 2 years?
So usually once a year. So
okay.
Just kind of think about it like your colonoscopy. You want to get it done on a regular basis and have it done by a professional. Take that Flush King again we were talking about. The best tool any RVer can get.
Oh my gosh. We've sold hundreds of those from that last video. So I'll show my setup right here. All set up with an old freshwater hose and my Save-A-Drop.
Well, you see I have a pair of big black gloves here. I like to have the big thick ones just to give me some protection. But I got a new tip for you today.
Oh, great.
Blue gloves, I wear multiple pairs.
Oh, nice.
When you're out there in the hot weather, your hands get kind of sticky and sweaty. Multiple pairs will take care of that, no problem at all. So if you get a pair of your gloves on there, you get a rip in them or a tear. If you have multiple pairs on, you just peel them off and keep on going.
That's a great tip.
Yep. And here we go, the flush on the black.
So this is going to be the one.
This is it. I'm not worried about the gray, but this black one is going to be the telltale. See how you've been doing.
Okay. And it's not so much that it's clean coming out, right? What are you looking for?
Well, yeah, I mean, we always flush, and I always recommend that the people who are RV owners who are using this this Flush King here are doing it until the water comes out perfectly clean. That's what we want, is this perfectly clean water coming out.
Okay.
So right now it's going in. So everybody thinks, well, it looks really good. Well, it's going in. So we're going to let that fill up to about 40 gallons, and then we're going to pull this valve, and we're going to see how it looks after that. It might take you 2, maybe 3 flushes sometimes to get things running nice and clear.
So Jim, we had a comment saying just get a cassette toilet and not mess with all of this. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, cassette toilets are very popular in Europe, and basically there you're just kind of popping in literally a cassette, doing your business, taking them out, and they are interesting, I think, technology that may find its way into the States a little bit more than it is already, but you may have a tough time convincing the major manufacturers to convert from the plain old holding tanks to the cassette version.
And I guess maybe a close to that one would be the composting toilet.
Yeah, we talk about, we were talking about in another video about some things you can do if you're boondocking or conserving water or something like that. The composting toilet's definitely one of those options. It's kind of advanced level RVing. It's not for everybody, but it is a good option, and it can help to conserve water if you do a lot of boondocking. It just takes a little bit of a learning curve and just kind of get used to how it works.
And what about like bidets now? People are
putting bidets
Yeah, you know,
in
if,
RVs.
if you have any concerns about toilet paper, then a bidet is a great way to go. We have more and more customers who use those, and I don't personally, but you know, I've only heard good things about them.
And I have another tour with a couple that uses a bidet, so I'll drop that down below in the description as well if people want to, you know, get an example of what that looks like.
Absolutely. All right, we're coming up to 40 gallons here.
Okay. How clean will it be? Saw some toilet paper go by.
Couple little ones, not concerned. Boy, that's pretty clean.
What are we thinking, Jim?
Well, I think I'm going to do one more flush.
Okay.
So we're not doing 4, we're just going to do 2, but
Okay.
I think I already have an idea of what grade you
What
might
the
be.
grade's gonna be?
Yeah,
All right.
I don't want to, I'm going to wait till the end.
Okay. So maybe we can talk about the RV myth, different myths out there about this, and or mistakes.
Okay.
We kind of already talked about the first one is you don't have to use RE toilet paper.
That is correct. You can use any kind of toilet paper you want. 1 ply, 2 ply, 3 ply, even 4 ply. You want to use quilted, lavender scented, go right ahead. Just make sure you use 2 things. Number 1, use a lot of water. When you're using the toilet, fill it up, do your business, flush it down, fill it up again, and flush it down. That's a minimum. So 2 flushes, 2 bowls full of water is what you want to use. And then the toilet paper, don't use a big, giant, tight ball of it. Just be very sensible with your toilet paper usage.
And I think this ties into another myth, but Lisa Honeycutt asked, does adding bleach to the water help with breaking down the sludge?
Yeah. So, no, it doesn't help at all. In fact, bleach is one of those things you want to be very careful about. It's very caustic. It can damage the seals and the pulls in your tanks. So you really don't want to have bleach in there for very long. And there's no need to put it in there. You're not going to sanitize a black tank because it's never going to be sanitary for one thing. And the next time you would use it, it would be unsanitary as well. So bleach doesn't do any kind of breaking down, and if done correctly, if you use your tanks correctly, that's a lot of water. And not using, I have to stress this, not using a tank additive that breaks down, liquefies, or dissolves the waste in there. So you just want things kind of floating around, will give you the best tank possible. So if you're just using water, or water and maybe our tank solution that we recommend, which is that combination of Calgon and pine sol and water, you're going to have a much healthier tank. It's going to drain better, it's going to smell better, you're not going to have buildup in there, so you don't have to worry about that, and your tank sensors will probably work properly.
And we'll share that formula at the end, but I think you just hit 2 myths right there with that. So myth number 2 will say don't use bleach.
Yes.
And myth number 3 is you don't need additives.
No, not at all. In fact, you don't need to put anything in there. You can just use water and your tanks will be perfect. But everybody likes to put something in there, and I get that. Just be careful about putting those things in that break down or liquefy or dissolve, because this is a holding tank. You don't want to turn it into a septic tank where everything breaks down into like a peanut butter or an oatmeal, and it's thick and it's sticky and it sticks to sensors and it smells all the time.
Well, and you know, it's people don't want to waste their money, right?
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's so many aftermarket RV products and stuff like that, and you know, just save your money, get the stuff that works.
Yep, absolutely.
So Jim, Denise asked, great information. Any special advice for weekend warriors that don't usually fill the tanks in just a few days?
Yeah, that's another good point there is, let's say you're going out for the weekend, you're doing what you're doing, it's time to go home on Sunday or maybe on a Monday, and your tanks are maybe a third full or so. Put some water in there to get them up to at least 75% to 100%. And that way a full tank, when you pull these valves, it's going to create sort of a whirlpool, and that's going to help to keep things clean. It's going to evacuate those tanks quickly, and you're just going to have a healthier tank. So adding water to get the volume up is key.
And I think we can say myth number 4 is leaving your gray tank open.
Oh.
Myth or mistake?
Oh, that is one of my biggest pet peeves, I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
You can leave them open under 2 circumstances. You got a big family, everybody's taking a shower, you know that tank's going to fill up pretty quickly, you're going to be emptying it all the time. So that's the one time you can leave it open. Or if your rig has a washing machine, you're doing some laundry, that tank fills up pretty quickly, it's okay to leave that gray open. Otherwise, no, not at all. Keep it closed. It'll help to control odors coming up through the sewer pipe. It will keep a buildup of water in that gray tank and just make everything healthier. And that reminds me, Tom, I do have a story for you, something unusual. One of our dealers down in Tennessee was doing a cleaning and needed to use some extra sewer pipe that the customer had underneath their rig, so he went and grabbed it, and he felt something in there, wasn't sure what it was. He dumped it out, and a big long black rat snake came out.
Oh my gosh.
That's the first time I've ever seen that happen.
I have a story I can share with you. I was disconnecting my RV, and well, maybe we'll get through this process here since we're seeing a couple things happen here.
Yep.
So there's a flush number 2 here.
Flush number 2, a little bit of toilet paper in the beginning, but I'm seeing that pretty clean right now. I always like to look to see what happens at the end here. And boy, that's pretty clean. I like that a lot.
And you want to see the toilet paper come out like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. We want, as we say in the industry, we want floaters, not sinkers.
You don't want to see broken down toilet paper.
We want to see big chunks of toilet paper coming out. That tells us that nothing is breaking down in the tank.
Okay.
No reason for that to happen. All right, I think we're going to move on to the gray.
Okay, good deal. So we're gonna save revealing my grade till later, huh?
You got it.
Okay.
So I haven't shared this story of what I found inside of a sewer hose once. It was connected to the RV. I just was disconnecting it. There was a huge toad in there. And it scared me at first because it was huge, but it had been in there for weeks.
Yep.
It's like, oh man.
It's amazing what gets into the different things. You know, we were talking about some other odd things that come out. We always see toilet paper or toilet cleaning wands come out, or the cleaning wand heads come out all the time. I once had a can of energy drink come out. I had 4 cigar butts come out all at once. 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of kids' toys, pens, wipes of all different types. So just be careful when you're in the bathroom that you don't start dropping things down. And if you got kids, you know, kind of explain to them what they can and can't do.
Yeah, I think that's something we talked about before in that other video, is that RVers often know what they should and shouldn't put in their tank.
Yes.
But then you have guests, you have kids, grandkids, and you never know, how much they're going to remember.
Right.
So Kathy asks, just wondering, when you are using pressurized flush, where does the air go from the pressure? Do you have to leave the toilet seat open?
Good question. So all tanks have some sort of venting apparatus. It's usually a standpipe that goes down into the tank, usually travels up the wall, and there'll be a vent stack or pipe up on top there. And when you're doing either our process or even using this flush valve to clean your own tanks, it does build up some pressure of water, and that's driving the air, and that typically goes right up that vent pipe, just like it's intended to do. And everything should be fine. So no need to open up the toilet. In fact, we had a report the other day of a customer who overfilled their tanks, and the fellow had walked away and came back and saw that there was about 50% more water he had put in than the tank would have held. And the unfortunate thing was his partner inside had actually flushed the toilet, and literally the entire toilet tank kind of exploded and coated the inside of the bathroom. Every single thing.
I've heard those stories.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So just be careful, like we said. This is the one time you want to be paying attention to what you're doing. Just focus. If you have somebody come up and ask a question or you get distracted, just turn things off. Just be careful.
I'm testing you, Jim, by asking you questions while
You
you're
are.
doing this process.
If I was one of our new dealers, they would be instructed to turn off everything and answer your question, but I'm able to do two things at once now.
I was going to say, this is probably part of your training.
It is. It is.
You're testing them while distracting them to see what they're going to do.
That's exactly what we do during training, yes. Coming up to 40 gallons here on your gray tank. Gray tanks, remember, we're looking for mold or mildew, chunks, flakes, anything like that. Most people do a really good job of controlling or taking care of the food off their plates. They might scrape it into a garbage can, or they might have a strainer or something in their sink. So we don't really often see a lot of food, but we're looking here for some mold or mildew that might have built up in the gray tank. And so far, I think we're looking pretty good. Well, that was one flush on the back, I think, right? And one flush on the gray, or did we do two back there? I don't remember. We did two here on the black, so I don't know, should I reveal what your grade is now?
I think we have a few more questions to answer.
All right, well, what else we got?
And then we'll share that toward the end. How about that?
That sounds good. And we always say use plenty of water in your tanks. Again, some of the tips. Use the 2 flush method in the toilet. When you're traveling, a good 5 to 10 gallons in each of your tanks. That's black and gray. That's sort of your traveling water. Empty that out when you get to your next destination. And then before you start camping, and after every time you have emptied your tanks, you want to prime those tanks with a good 3 to 5 gallons of water. So really, water is all you need to be using in those tanks. If you want to do an additive, I personally would stay away from the things that break down, liquefy, or dissolve any kind of enzyme or bacteria. Just convert your holding tank into a septic tank. At Kleen Tank, for 11 years now, we've been recommending this, and we give it out to all of our customers. We actually give it out to everybody that asks for one. Simply a recipe of Calgon, pine sol, and water. Calgon, you want to use the Calgon from the bath department. That's bath pearls, which I understand are hard to find. These are the elusive bath pearls, but you can use bath beads, which is more of a powder, or even a bath liquid, but you're going to want to use those in that tank solution. And then any scent of pine sol, you can use the original pine, lemon, lavender. There's a new orange, there's a new green, there's a new blue, and there's a new red, each with a kind of different scent. So any kind of smell you like, you can find in your pine sol. Mix that up. If you get one of our bottles, the recipe for it is right there on the bottle. Every piece of marketing or promotion that we do, this is my business card, and same for all of our dealers, has the recipe to make it on your own. You can make a gallon for about $5. It is the cheapest tank solution you can use. It is the best stuff you'll put inside your tanks.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that, Jim.
You got it.
I've got some questions related to that mixture, and you may have covered some of these, but we'll kind of go through these here. So Diane asks, Calgon Ageless bath beads, not only is that very hard to find, but it's extremely expensive. Can the cheaper lavender box of beads do okay? Thanks a bunch for the video.
Yep, absolutely. You can use the Calgon bath pearls, bath beads, which is more of a powder, or the bath liquid. I do know that these bath pearls, which is what we recommend, but you can use any of the bath products, is going to be more readily available here in the fall. So just kind of keep an eye on the Kleen Tank website, and I think you're all of a sudden going to find that there's plenty of this around.
Oh, awesome. And Mike says that Calgon is not available in Canada. Is there an alternative to Calgon?
Actually, Calgon is more available in Canada than it is right now in the United States. You can find it at the Walmarts up there, as well as some of the drugstores, pretty readily available.
Greg asks, fantastic video with so much helpful information. We have a new Flagstaff 21 FBRS that we will use about once a month. Should we store it in between trips with 3 to 4 gallons of water and the Calgon Pine Sol solution in the tanks?
Good question. So my personal rule of thumb is that if you are going to be using your RV within 30 days, that you can store it with some liquid in there. That's a pretty good amount of water to put in there, and you could put some of our tank solution as well. After 30 days, personally, I like to have them dry or emptied out. And then again, remember, as you're about to drive to your next camping destination, that's when you're going to put that traveling water in there, 5 to 10 gallons per tank.
So Jim, what if people have concern about the pine oil and the pine sol?
Yeah, that's a good question. So pine sol, actually stopped using pine oil and pine sol in 1982. And the concern is that pine oil is a pretty caustic chemical. They actually did start adding it back into the original pine scent, pine sol, but it's at such a low concentration, it's more of a fragrance than anything else. But if you do have a concern about it, then you can use any of the other scented pine sols that don't have any pine oil at all.
And I'll just kind of reduce this question down a little bit. She says that they have a macerator built into their RV. Will your service still work?
Depending on the type of macerator, we can generally get around the macerator into the tanks. It's kind of specific to the type of RV. It's a good question if you're going to call us up and arrange service that you mention that ahead of time, so we can sort of ask some questions. We might want some pictures. But generally speaking, yes, we can work around the macerator.
And John Brown has a suggestion. So if needing high ratio of waste to water in the black tank, could you not just fill the tank 1/3 or more full with the flush every time after you empty it? Seems like that should eliminate most problems rather than spending 2 to 3 minutes flushing extra water through the toilet after each use.
Yeah, so what he's talking about is basically priming the tanks and putting some water in there to kind of start out your experience, or restarting it after you empty the tanks. That's what we recommend, but still, most RVers don't use enough water, so just using a couple extra flushes when you use the toilet is always smart.
And Phil asks, I am curious, would hot or warm water under the same pressure be better?
Hot water or warm water would be better in our process. We're trying to figure an economical way of doing that without some very large and expensive on-demand water heating unit. But one of the things related to hot water that we always recommend, if you have a toilet clog, which we can handle, but maybe one of our dealers can't get to you right away, that dealer will help you to resolve temporarily that clog using hot water. I wouldn't go ahead and start dumping it down. Make sure you talk to one of our dealers, but hot water it does do a good job sometimes of dissolving.
And that reminds me of something else, that if somebody does accidentally put something down there in their tank and then they get really concerned, how, like if somebody tosses a can of beer down there, how bad is that, and is that something you can take care of?
Yeah, so those types of large obstructions can really be a cause of concern, because they can wedge themselves into that drain opening, for instance, and they can really cause quite a backup. So if that ever happens, if somebody accidentally drops something in, I would suggest that they give one of our dealers a call right away and let them know. I would say a high percentage of the time our process can get that out. So your tanks today, we did the back one, the front two, and I will say for being 11 months in, you've got 3 A's.
Oh my gosh, yeah! Woohoo!
Yeah. Those were some pretty darn clean tanks. You're doing exactly what we taught you to do, or what you've been doing, so it's, you're doing just great.
That's great. Well, thank you, Jim. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Well, Jim, I can't thank you enough for coming out here today. You know, I did not expect my tanks to be that clean.
3 A's.
I mean, that's not very often you probably give that grade out.
I can probably count very few times, indeed. Yeah.
Okay.
A couple A's here and there, but I can't remember the last 3 A I gave.
Wow. And so with that, how long would you say I should go until the next cleaning?
3 A's. Normally it would be 2 years, but you're a full-timer, so maybe we'll see you in a year just to see if you can keep things going.
Okay, don't slack off is what you're telling me.
That's
then,
right.
Right.
That's right.
Okay. I guess it's important to say that you know, you are still adding dealers.
Yes.
If people are interested in that.
Absolutely.
All of your contact information will be down below in the description and the pinned comment.
Yep.
So they can reach out to you with questions.
Absolutely.
And keep the questions coming, because I'm sure we'll run into you again and we'll get more of these questions answered. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we've recorded even more videos with Jim about this topic. So actually we'll put one of those videos up right over here right now.